Alright guys, this is the week of what we should have been on February break for, but you are here, I am not. So here's a video that should help you with the quadratic formula. Alright, so quadratic formula looks a little scary, but it's really not that bad. It says x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. This will solve any quadratic equation, and I mean any quadratic equation. That's what we've been doing lately, and this will work for everything. Okay? The quadratic formula is used to find the zeros, also known as roots, x-intercepts, or solutions. They all mean the same thing. To a quadratic equation. The equation must be in standard form. This is standard form. Y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. A, b, and c all represent numbers. The equation must be set equal to 0. It can give you two exact answers or two approximate answers. Okay? So, let's look at a situation where we have to use the quadratic formula to solve. Look at this. It says, the example says x squared minus 4x, or x squared plus 4x minus 12 equals 0. Okay? So I'm actually going to use the document camera so you can actually hear me better, because when I go to the board, you can't really hear me. Got a lot going on this afternoon. Yep. Okay. There we are. So basically, you need to figure out what A, B, and C are, okay? So, looking here, this is the equation it gives you. And you know, standard form is just ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, okay? So we need to be able to figure out what A is, what B is, and what C is. In this particular situation, A is 1, B is 4, C is negative 12, okay? A's there, B's there, C's there, okay? Do you see how I got that? Now, it's just a matter of knowing the formula, and I'll have this written down, I'll have this in the room, so you won't have to memorize it, and especially when you're on the EOC, you get a formula sheet, and quadratic formula is on that formula sheet. Okay, so the equation is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. Alright, so the important thing here is to know your numbers, know your A, B, and your C, and know where they go in the formula, because all you're doing is you're plugging in A wherever you see A. You're plugging in B wherever you see a B. You're plugging in C wherever you see a C. Okay, so let's see what happens here. And don't forget about that negative. That is always going to be there. So do negative, do a parentheses. Our B is 4, so 4 goes in that parentheses. Plus or minus the square root. Now, what is our B? Our B is 4. We're going to do 4 squared minus 4 times our A. Our A is 1 times our C. Our C is negative 12. Okay. And that's all over 2 times A. A is 1. The beautiful thing about this is that you can put all of this in your calculator. You just have to be very, very, very careful. Okay? Alright, so let's look at this. Get your calculator. and type that in exactly as you see it. I don't know if this one's going to work. Let me try a different calculator. Right, so let's see. Alright, so you have to be very careful when you're plugging this in your calculator. The first thing you want to do, since it's a fraction, you want to hit the fraction key, N over D, and type in negative. Negative's right here. Don't type a minus right there. Type negative. Negative parentheses 4. And in the formula, you have to do plus or minus. Your calculator will not do both at the same time. You can pick one. I start out with positive, so I'm going to do plus here. Then do the square root. Do second square root. And then do 4 squared. And then the squared button's there. 4 squared. A lot of people forget to square that 4, or your b. And then minus. Make sure you hit minus here. Don't hit the negative. Okay? Minus 4 times 1 times negative 12. And that is all over 2 times 1. And you know 2 times 1 is just 2. So you can hit 2 here. Now if you hit enter, you get 2. Now here is the beautiful thing about your calculator. If you hit enter, tap enter again, tap it twice. Well, it should be. Arrow back up, and you see how what you just did is highlighted? Hit enter again. You can actually go back and edit this. It took a lot of work to put it in. So plus or minus, you're going to put a minus here, and hit enter again, and you get negative 6. So your two solutions are going to be x equals 2 and x equals negative 6. And that's how you solve using the quadratic formula. Just be very careful when you're plugging everything in to the calculator. All right?